is a date that will go down in history. Monday, 20th of January, 2025. Donald Trump has been inaugurated for the second time. He is now America's 47th president. 8 years after he first entered the White House and 4 years since he lost the presidency to Joe Biden. It is the most, whatever your politics, the most extraordinary comeback for someone who was impeached twice and was convicted of falsifying business records relating to a payment made to an adult entertainment actress. Donald Trump has said he will reverse 4 years of American decline. Well, joining me to talk more on this is Dan Harris. Dan, who lives in Cheltenham, worked on Capitol Hill and at the White House itself during the Ronald Reagan era and in politics in the UK. Dan is the host of the international podcast Over Here, Over There, American, British and Italian citizen. Dan has worked on both sides of the Atlantic in politics and high technology. Dan, an extraordinary comeback. Did you ever think you'd see the day when Donald Trump would return to the White House?
Oh, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Graham. No, I did not, especially January 6th. When I was watching, as we all were, the riot that was happening on January 6th in 2021, I just thought that was almost like a suicide note politically for Donald Trump. I just could not believe that was happening. And I thought he could never recover from that alone, let alone the things you just mentioned about his legal difficulties and things like that. So it's just extraordinary that he's in this position. There was just court case after court case after court case that you think that one of these things is going to catch him out. And basically, he beat the clock. He extended it. He was very practiced at doing that in his business life, and he did that here. And now he's swearing on the Bible, and now president of the United States for a second time.
Why is he so popular? Why do you think he's so popular in America?
Well, I'm not sure if he's popular as such, because his poll ratings are pretty poor still for someone coming in. I think it's at 40 or 41%, which is very low for a president.
He still won the election result, though. I mean, he was still voted in.
That's right. Yeah. So, why did he win the election, though? I think he won the election. That is what the pundits and everyone across the world is trying to figure out. How did he win? Why did he win? And there's two things. One, I think that it was a bit of ineptitude on the Democrats as far as how that presidential campaign was administered, with Joe Biden exiting so late and not giving Kamala Harris a chance to define herself and to reach out across the divide. The other thing that you have to say is that we have not elected a woman president. And that is something that we just are behind other nations in doing and getting past. And also, she's a woman of color. So it's something that we really have to come to grips with. We did elect Barack Obama, but we didn't elect Kamala Harris. And she only lost by like 1.5 percentage points. It wasn't a landslide. It was close. But still, as you say, Donald Trump won the election. And I think that one of the things that Republicans did, or several of the things that Republicans did very well, was their communication strategy was excellent. They had half the money that the Democrats did. They had like $500 million, which sounds like an enormous amount, but the Democrats had over $1 billion in their war chest. But the Republicans really spent wisely and went to the communication channels to reach out to their base and to beyond the base, to the young people, a lot of different demographics, and they scored on those. And they just marginally put their noses in front of the Democrats and won.
As we watch the inauguration in this country, it'll be on all the television news tonight. It's on all the news websites as well. We're wondering, well, how's this going to affect life in the UK? What do you think his return to the White House will mean to it's an overused phrase, but the special US-UK relationship?
Well, I've asked this to a lot of different politicians over here about what they think. And they say, well, the relationship is, whether it's Trump or if it was Kamala Harris, that it will still survive. Well, I think in this case with Trump, you've got to handle it differently. And I was listening to David Smith earlier, a good colleague of mine over when we spent time in Philadelphia. And I think that he was right. You really got to know how to handle Trump in order to get something out of the relationship.
Flatter
it's
him.
not policy.
That's it, isn't it?
Yeah,
Flatter
you can
him.
flatter him. Well, yeah, flatter him. You don't really talk policy or trade deals. You just got to be on his good side, because we're in more of an authoritarian regime over there now. It's somewhat anti-democratic. You really got to flatter the leader, look up to this person called Donald Trump, and know how to play what really motivates him. And it's flattery. He's very concerned about self and things like that. So to say that we have a special relationship now, to be honest, I think that's kind of out the window. I think you've got to really focus on him and how to deal with him as best you can.
His first full day in office tomorrow. What do you think he'll do first?
Well, there's a slew of things. He probably wants to make a statement, whether symbolic or not, from his campaign promises on immigration, deporting a lot of illegal and possibly legal refugees that are here in the United States that are there. And that's one. Certainly on energy, there's things that he's going after as far as opening up Alaska and certain public lands for oil exploration. And then David mentioned, I heard him talk about the Gulf of Mexico, turning that into Gulf of America. I mean, that's window dressing, to be perfectly honest. I don't think, whether that happens or not, or who pays attention to that, who knows? But what he's doing is he wants to really throw red meat to his base and to show that he is keeping to his promises right away, to show that he delivers. Now, whether they're effective or not, whether he actually gets back and starts building the wall or not, who knows? But he's going to make some symbolic gesture with these executive orders to show that he's in charge and he's the guy. You can expect a slew of executive orders coming out right after this, as soon as he can sign them, and to show that he's the leader of the Western world.
Dan Harris, fascinating to talk to you. Thank you so much for being with us on the programme this afternoon. Dan Harris, who lives in Cheltenham, worked on Capitol Hill and at the White House during the Reagan era. On the inauguration of President Donald Trump, returned to the White House, the 47th President of the United States of America.